going on, guys? Just got done getting a haircut, running some errands in the morning. Game plan for this weekend is to get the other head gasket finished and get the engine back together, and then I'm going to start working on some more wiring, because I believe I found the issue as far as why the engine's not, and this is modulating, it's not consistent throttle. I'm thinking it has to do with the window relay and the fuel pump relay, because if both relays are connected at the same time and you go to hit the windows, the car kind of shorts out and the window relay freaks out. But if you disconnect the fuel pump relay and use the windows, everything works perfect. So I had to modify the fuel pump relay to work. With the LS engine, you have to ground it, whereas the Nissan, typically the ECU is the ground signal for the fuel pump relay. So I'm thinking it could be something with that, or maybe I snipped a wire somewhere for something, I don't know. But we're going to rewire the fuel pump relay, make it its own system, get it away from the window relay, and some Firebirds. That's pretty cool. Some old Mercedes. So that's the game plan with that, but I want to get the engine back together and see how it goes. So we're going to start putting the push rods back in, finish this side up, put the valve cover on for the last time, and move on to the other side, ripping that head off. Alright, so I've decided I'm going to leave the driver's side alone. I'm not going to pull that head off. I have the gasket if I ever need to do it. It's easy enough to do the head gasket. I'm going to roll the dice, I'm going to leave it. Whether or not it's a good idea, probably not. Don't care. I'm going to leave it. I want to get this finished up. I want to move on to fixing up the wiring. So I want to clean all this wiring up. I have a lot of it bunched up. As you can see, this was wound together. So I want to stretch it all out, get it all nice and clean. This injector wiring is looped, so I want to get all the loops out. I want to pull it through, and then I'm going to look at, I mentioned this in an earlier video, one of the earlier ones when I first started doing this, but I have these giant bulkhead fittings. These aren't the nicest one, like the mil-spec ones, but those are like very, very expensive. I didn't feel like spending the money on those. So these were cheap off eBay. So I'm going to look at putting these in. I have 2 of them. They're each 22 pin. I want to look at doing that just to make it a little easier. So I'm going to button this up. Like I said, put the rockers back in, put the push rods back in, tighten that down, move on. Instead of messing with that head. That head's good. We're going to start putting the push rods in. So, very important when you put your rod in, you lube up the tip. You know, you don't want to try and put it in dry. It's definitely not what you want to do. So this is the exhaust. As mentioned in the last video, the exhaust goes on the most right-hand side, followed by the intake. So make sure you get a nice, good amount of lube on the tip. Lube your tips. that's it for the head gasket. We got the valve train all done. It's all buttoned up. Valve covers on. So I'm going to jump into doing the wiring now. I'm just going to clean it up. I'm not really going to film anything, but I'll update you guys as we go. Ended up taking all the wiring out of the engine bay, as you can see. And I have pulled it out, and it is now on the table. So, as you can see, this is an absolute disaster. So this, like, I have wires in bundles. I have wires that are just crazy. I have excess. I mean, that ground was coiled up. This is the wire for the goes to the alternator that ended up going to the driver's side, looping all the way back around to the passenger side, which is crazy. So all this is going to get cleaned up, and hopefully I'll organize it a little bit better this time. This is inside the car now. You see there's the ECU I have down there. What I want to do in here is kind of make this a little nicer. Now that all that wiring's out of here, it's just a mess. There's just so many wires. So a lot of this leftover wiring, like this section, this all feeds the door in here. It's hard to see. See this whole loom here. This whole loom, it basically just feeds this door. There's a few wires that go to the back. These few wires here. I'm not sure if they're live or not, but a majority of it, this is just for the doors and the window. These wires just come overhead, tuck up above the headliner and go to the light. And then there's a good amount of wiring left here. I mean, a lot of it's cut, as you can see. But I mean, it's without losing my power windows and doors and locks. And well, I don't have power. Oh yeah, I do have power locks. Do I? No, I have manual locks. But power windows is kind of a nice feature. Without losing my power windows, I can't really remove too many more wires behind the dash. So I'm just going to try and clean them up as best as I can. So for today, this is going to wrap it up for now. Like I said, we got the harness out. I got the head back all together. So what I'm going to do, probably next weekend, is get all that wiring on the harness cleaned up. I'll videotape a little bit of it, but none of it's too crazy. If you guys have any questions you want to see about the harness, how I ran the wiring, because I did this harness all myself. I cleaned it out, stripped it from the stock 5.3 harness, converted it over to work with this car. So if you guys want to see anything, how I connected the car into the ECU and vice versa, just leave a comment, let me know. That's going to be next time. I'll record and explain anything you guys want to know, because a lot of people don't really do their own harness. They kind of just buy the aftermarket one, the wire specialties, and just plug it in, which is excellent, don't get me wrong. If I had the money, I probably would have went that route. But this was also a really good learning experience as far as knowing your car and how to wire everything up and how it all works together. So let me know if you guys want to see anything. Other than that, take it easy. Like, subscribe, comment. Like I said, please comment, let me know. Let us know what you think. We're moving along. Hopefully this gets running relatively soon. But the hard work's done.